Give a quick video tip on how your videos can be a little bit better. And this is one of my favorite tips. It's about making eye contact, right? When you're using your phone. So when you're using your phone, a lot of us, we tend to look at the screen. And I want to show you, like, pay attention closely to my eye contact, right? So right now I'm looking at the lens. When you're looking at the front of your phone, there's a lens in the front of your phone. You want to be mindful of that lens and not to look at the phone. So I'm looking at the lens this entire time, but I'm going to switch over to the screen, which many of us do. We switch over to the screen and pay attention to what we're doing rather than paying attention to the lens on the camera. So really quickly, watch this. Now I'm talking, right? And I'm paying attention to the screen and I'm not making that eye contact with you. So my video is not as intimate as it could be. So I'm going to switch back over to the lens and you can see now it looks again like I'm making eye contact with you. So be mindful when you're making these videos to make that eye contact. To look at your phone lens, always be mindful to look at your phone lens, not your phone screen. It will make your videos better. So another piece of advice, our next piece of advice is, what should I talk about? So that's a question that's brought up often, and I'm going to recommend that for your first video. So for your first video, what do you want to talk about? Like, some of us are in business and that's cool, but a lot of times, especially within social media, people don't care about our business. They don't want to hear about our business. And if they do want to hear about our business, they want to hear about us first. So I like to recommend the first video that people make is a video introducing yourself and talking about you, who you are as a person. Video is highly effective because we get to see and interact with that person. Like, we as professionals, we're a brand and people want to see who we are as a brand. People don't want to deal with logos and business brands. They want to talk to that person. So that personal content, like the video content, does a lot better than stale logos or business images. So when you're trying to think about the first video to make a video about yourself. Talk about you. So for example, me, I would just introduce myself. If this was my first video, I would say, hey, I'm Jerome. I'm a real estate professional. I have an IT background, and I would explain like some of me personally. I would talk about, like, I have 4 children. I would tell them I have 4 children. I would tell them some hobbies I like, and I would leave it at that. I don't want to complicate it. I just introducing myself so I can get it out there, and nobody knows you better than you. So with your first video, I recommend you introduce yourself. Question we often get, and another that people ask is, what kind of camera should I use? So first, if you have that question, that means you're likely in the beginning stages of producing and creating video content. And my advice to that is that you should start smart. So that's how you remember it, right? You need little corny sayings to remember stuff. Start smart. Use your smartphone. Start smart. Use your smartphone. If you want to create video content, use your smartphone. It's perfectly okay to use your smartphone starting out. You want to create as much content as possible, and the quickest way to do that is to use your smartphone. Go Facebook Live, press the live button and begin to record that video, or you can just record videos and then upload them to whichever platform that you are considering. But when you're very early on and you're asking about what camera, what hardware should I use, that means you are in the beginning stages. And guess what? We're allowed to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. So your video quality doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be extremely professional. The most important aspect to you right now of creating this video content is to actually do it, to practice. Get your practice in so that content is out there. So start smart, use your smartphone. Another tip when you're doing video, right? Aside from your image, right? And I would argue that it's better or more of a priority than your image, like the visual that you see on the screen. Another tip and another thing you want to be mindful of is the audio. So if you're doing a video and you're far away from that video, the audio is not going to be excellent, right? One way you can overcome that is by getting a microphone. You don't want to complicate this. So people ask all the time, like, what should I get? What kind of equipment should I use? What editing software I should use? And again, my piece of advice and what I've learned over in my experience is that you need a microphone. So you need good audio, and you can see here, like I'm talking to you, I'm close to the phone, but I'm still using a microphone. And the quick and dirty answer for a microphone is you get a lavalier lapel microphone. It's these little microphones you can see. I'll take mine off and I'll show you here. This is the lavalier lapel microphone. They're under $20. You can find it on Amazon and you just buy that microphone. You don't need to complicate anything. You're using your smartphone. Get one of these, a lavalier lapel microphone. Do not complicate it when you're first starting out. The most important aspect when you're first starting out is to actually get out there, produce those videos. So you want to make as many videos as you can, and you'll learn things along the way. Little tips like this: get the microphone, and the other tip that I gave you, make sure you make eye contact. You pay attention to your camera lens when making videos. I want to share another tip, and this tip is also asked pretty frequently, and that tip is, what editing software should I use? And when you're first starting out, I highly recommend that you don't do any editing at all, regardless of your profession. If you're a professional video editor, maybe you think about editing, but if you're a professional video editor, you're not going to ask that question, what editing software should I use? So my number one piece of advice is, don't use any editing. You get out there, you make those videos, and you don't use the editing because it will complicate things. It adds another layer onto producing video, and we already know how challenging that can be to produce videos. With that being said, there are some people that are still super stubborn about editing software, so I always recommend that you use I like to recommend two cloud-based softwares, and the first software is a free software and a free tool, and it's called Kapwing. I'll post a link to that software, right? Kapwing, Kapwing. Then the second piece of editing software I like to recommend and that I use is called WeVideo. So WeVideo, WeVideo. I like to recommend those two pieces of software because they're both cloud-based editors, and it doesn't matter what device you're using. So it doesn't matter if you're on a PC, if you're on a Mac, or you're using your smartphone. There's a way to edit and modify edit those videos using that software. So that's why I like to recommend those softwares, and they're also pretty user friendly. So that's my tip for editing software. Here's another common question that you get about video, and that question is, should I film my videos vertically or horizontal? So should I make them the long way, which is considered portrait mode, or should I do them the long way, which is considered landscape mode? And my personal advice is that you should form them in horizontal mode because it gives a better perspective for your videos, especially when you're as a professional, right? In addition to that, when it comes to editing videos, you can edit the vertical videos, but when it comes to editing videos, it's a lot easier to edit the horizontal videos. Think about this: when you go to the movie theater or when you're watching your television, what is the orientation of that device? The orientation is horizontal. So because it's a better experience. Think about your eyes, right? Your eyes go horizontal. They like, okay, you get some experience with the vertical, but our eyes are made vertical, so it gives us a better experience when we're watching horizontal videos. Like, you go to the movie theater, it's not a straight up and down screen. It's a left to right screen, horizontal. So I encourage you to do your videos the same way. In addition to that, when it's time to edit your videos, like most professional video editors, they edit in horizontal mode. It's much easier to edit videos that are horizontal compared to vertical. When it's time to edit a vertical video, you have to do a lot of cutting and modifying those top parts because those parts aren't super relevant to the video. So that's my advice about vertical versus horizontal video. Try to use horizontal. You can't go wrong with horizontal, but you can go wrong with a vertical video. So my advice, and I'm in the camp of horizontal videos. Another question that I constantly get about video is, how do you get good on video? And people complicate this process, so I want to simplify it. The way to get good at anything is to practice. So you got to practice. The more you produce, the better you'll become, and the more natural you will seem. So same thing applies here. If you are trying to get better on video, you've got to start producing those videos. So get out there, make those videos. Make videos about any and everything. Talk talk about your day, share your experiences, and that's how you'll get better. The more you produce, the more videos you put out, the better you will be on camera. And when I first started out, people are like, "You're so good on camera," and I wasn't good on camera. The thing about video is all you have to do is be authentic and be yourself, and people will realize that, and they'll be drawn to you. So it's not a complicated process. There's no way to get good other than practice. And to practice, you just gotta make that content. Don't try to complicate it. Don't ask about microphones. Don't ask about editing software. Just get out there and do it. I have an instructor, Aaron. He likes to say the quickest way for professionals to do video is to go live. And I absolutely agree. You just go live on Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is. Go live and talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about to produce that video, because it requires no editing, no complications. You just get out there, you produce that video, you talk, and people want to see you and talk to you. So that's how you get good, or you get better at video. You just produce the content. If you could produce one video per week, that's 52 swings at bat. You're bound to improve doing video 52 times a year. So get out there, make those videos. That's how you get good. You just got to do it.